Hello, I'm Steph from iDriver Classic, but I'm also Steph from Lancaster Insurance this weekend because I also work at Lancaster Insurance and I'm head of car clubs. And so it's a bit of a double-edged sword this weekend as we celebrate the NEC Classic Motor Show, because whilst I'm really excited to be in Hall 1, where I'll be most of the weekend, because I'm going to meet so many of you because we're right by the doors, it's also going to mean that I'm probably not going to get to go around and make a full show report. So what I've done today, Thursday, on the setup day, is to come round, see a few stands, see what's caught my eye, and get people to talk through their stands. Because as my friend James once said to me, there's nothing more interesting than getting people to tell their own stories and listening to them. So that's kind of how this video is. It's a selection of stands that I've seen, I thought quite cool. But first of all, in that vein of people telling you about their own stands, let me tell you about the Lancaster stand, because this is where I am this year, and I'm also going to tell you how to win a car. So first of all, we're going to start with this one over here. And you just know that all the cars picked on the stand have my fingerprint all over it, because it's cars that I absolutely love. Now, the theme of the show this year is part of the family. And for me, this car is a real... It really harks back in a special way because, for those of you that are fans of Goodwood Revival, you'll know about the J40. But you might be wondering, so of course we know it's based on an Austin car, what it's based on. It's based on the A40 Devon, just like this one here. They're incredibly hard to get hold of. There's so few of them left. And Alistair from the Austin Counties Car Club helped me, and he got in touch with Richard and Kai, and they brought this car down. It's been in their family for a little while, and so it's very special because it's part of their family. Now, when we talk about family, sometimes family is the people that you decide are in your own family and you pick. And one of the people I've picked is Kev, who you've probably seen in many iDriver Classic videos. And this is his Austin J40, which I have borrowed for the show today. So thank you very much, Kev. If you're watching this, you have absolutely saved my bacon. Now, this Austin J40 is really lovely because when Kev bought it, he bought it as a project and he did it for his son Thomas. Tom's now 21, so they've had it for quite some time, and it's come out of storage and it's come down to the show today. And the strapline when these were sold was just like Father's car. And I always find this hugely interesting, so if you've never watched the video that I did on the J40, you really should, because it's such an interesting car because they made them from the offcuts of the metal. The lights, I believe the headlights are from the interior light, and essentially the J40 factory, which was brought in, and they used to have the miners from South Wales, so it's miners that could no longer work, then started working in the J40 factory. They used to use the J40 factory to train up managers to then go into the main Austin factory. It's such an interesting car, and it's so much more than just the car itself. So whilst it's definitely the smallest thing on our stand this weekend, for me it's something that has so much history steeped within it as a family car, and as for historical relevance, that it couldn't not be here. So the next car is a car which I think might surprise some of you. So this one is the Yugo Sana. Now, this car is particularly interesting because something that I find incredibly interesting and exciting is that the younger generation seem to be rescuing and valuing and appreciating the cars that perhaps the rest of us see as like bangers or low value cars that are just a bit of an A to B. They see them as classics, and that's exciting because it shows the transition of our hobby from something like the A40 through to something like this Yugo Sana. Now, this was parked in someone's garage, it was forgotten, it was sad, the original lady owner had passed away, and the car was rescued by a very young man named Ollie, and he went all the way from Newcastle to the Isle of Wight to pick this car up, and he has done no end of work to it to get it back on the road. And finding parts for a Yugo Sana is no mean feat, so well done, Ollie, because that is an incredible bit of work. Is it concourse? No, but is the story behind it brilliant? Absolutely. Now come with me. Now, if you've ever been to the National Motor Museum down at Bewley, you will probably recognise this car. This is the Outspan Orange. Now, if you're wondering what Outspan is, Outspan was a company that used to sell oranges, and I think there were 6 of these made between 1972 and 1974. So I think Ed China's got one, there's the one here, but this of course is the Bewley one. And for me, the reason I wanted this on the stand is it's part of the family, true, but this for me, when I was a child, because we lived down in Hampshire, I got taken to Bewley Motor Museum and I saw this, and this is actually one of my strongest childhood memories, is seeing this in the museum, and I absolutely love it. And to have it here, what a full circle moment, to have it here from being a child to being on the stand. So look, corny moment, I know, but I'm really loving it. So come with me, I'll show you what else we've got. Now, if you've ever watched that gorgeous blonde bombshell on television, Sarah Crabtree, and you're wondering, what does she drive? Is it something glamorous like an E-Type Jag? Is it cheeky like a Mini? No, Sarah has a brown Morris Ital. And a lot of people will say, well, what's a Morris Ital doing on the stand? You know what? Thousands of people bought Morris Marinas, Morris Itals. They are fantastic cars. Ignore the people that rubbish them. They are brilliant, good fun to drive. Once you get into it, it's good fun. And with those animal print seat covers, Sarah's having a roaringly good time in hers. Come down and see her. She's on the stand over the weekend, and the car looks well. And remember, we're going to look at Vogue Classics next, actually. I'm not going to spoil that surprise. So let me talk to you about this. Now, this is Malcolm Dudley's 1957 Frisky Sport. I would like to just say a massive thank you to the Meadows Frisky Club. Now, you may have seen this at the NEC before, but for me this was something really incredibly interesting because, of course, you've got the original Meadows family members that are still involved in the club. So for that element, it's a great part of that family experience, and what an incredibly interesting car to put on the stand as well. And I think cars like this, it's so important to acknowledge them, know them, celebrate them, because if we don't get excited about stuff like this and we keep that excitement going, then it all gets lost. And of course, in a way, when we talk about part of the family, I'm going to put a tenuous link in here, because the designer of these is, and I say his name wrong every time, so let's just go with it, Michelotti, who of course did my 1300 front wheel drive, and he did various other Triumphs as well. He designed this as well, and it was the guys behind this car that introduced Michelotti, I believe, to Triumph. So without that connection there, we wouldn't have half the cool Triumphs that we have. Come along, come along. Now, one of the greatest joys of this show is pride of ownership. So we also have, keeping it in the family, 2 members of the Clapperson family, both who have won, I believe, they've definitely won, the pride of ownership. First of all, we've got Paul Clapperson's 1972 MGB GT, where I think she's celebrating her 50th birthday at this particular show. So that's exciting. And then we've got Paul's son Jake and his 1979 Triumph Spitfire as well. So a fantastic array of different cars, but there's lots to see here. So let me show you some of the other stands, and if you're coming down this weekend, make sure you come and see me in Hall 1. So let's go and see some other stuff.
Hi there, I am Bex from Art by Bex, and we're here at the Classic Motor Show with Matilda, our classic Mini, and part of Retro Mini Hire, together with Art by Bex, who you know loves minis and classic cars, and we've done all the Classic Motor Show memorabilia for the show this year. So Matilda became part of my personal family because, as you know, I love to paint people's classic minis for enthusiasts and collectors, and now Matilda is part of our own personal family that we love to hire out so people can self-drive Matilda throughout the Peak District. We love it, of course. We choose Lancaster Insurance as our personal insurance for Matilda, and we love it.
Hello, my name's David Doolan. I'm the events coordinator with the Ginetta Owners Club. Here we are in Hall 3 at the NEC with a display of 5 cars. The first one that you can see here, G15. More G15s were built than any other production Ginetta. This one from 1973, although road registered, has never been used on the road. It's a competition car. First time it's been shown at the NEC. Just behind it is the Ginetta G21. About 80 of these were built. Originally they would have Roots Chrysler engines, 1800 or a whole bay engine. Again, this car hasn't been at the show before, it's the first time it's been here. It's currently fitted with a Ford engine, it has been modified. Next to it, yes, bit of a monster of a car, the Ginetta G33 from 1991. Only small production run, once again, just under 100 cars, fitted with the Rover 3.9 V8 engine. Power to weight ratio is incredible. The next one that we come to is again a very, very rare car, just a handful built, all racing cars. This is the G16. This has been owned by the same family since new in 1968. Originally raced by Jerry Tyack and now raced by his son. It's still currently being used as a competition car. Then finally, as we come along here, big crowd favourite, this one. This is a G11. Originally, Ginetta built two G10 V8s, and this G11 has been converted by Ginetta back to the G10 specification. Fitted with a 4.7 Ford V8 engine. And always a great crowd pleaser. This has been shown at the show before, and it is the winner of many trophies.
We've talked a little bit about how we're going around on the Thursday and we're catching everyone as they set up. And Matt, I think you only got here about 10 minutes ago.
Not long ago. It has been, yeah, a bit of a whirlwind day, a long drive straight up from Kent, and just started to unload the Tourer.
You're doing very well. So what have you brought? Tell us what you brought today.
I brought so much stuff with me. I've got t-shirts, I've got hats.
Yeah.
I can show you the t-shirts, hang on. Oh. I've got multiple designs. I've got new mugs which have literally just arrived a minute ago, because I wanted some new fresh stuff. We've got the Curious Driving mugs, but now we've got Rover mugs. Hey! I've got an American...
Who owns this branding, Matt? Are you going to get in trouble?
Okay, let's put them on back. Cut. We've got this amazing...
That one does exist though. You just have to ask Matt for that. It's under the table.
We've got Crown Victoria mugs, which are amazing.
That's brilliant.
No one does Crown Victoria mugs.
Furious driving, I'll tell you what, if there'd been protesters on the M25 this morning, I think there would have been some furious driving.
I left at 4 AM to avoid them. Rover P6 mugs, because I've got two Rover P6s here on the channel. We've got all kinds of other stuff, all these key rings, got all kinds, yeah, the funnest stuff you can imagine.
So let's cut to the chase. Yes. Where's Ian?
Ian is currently...
For those of you at home that don't know who we're referring to, it's not just our friend Ian, it's Ian from Hubnut, who's also on the stand with you. Where is he?
He is bringing Citroens with him. Apparently he's about 20 minutes away, but he's been about 20 minutes away for a couple of hours now. He's getting the cars washed at the moment.
Okay,
he's setting up our accommodation for the night, which is going to be revealed later on.
Oh, right. Is it where are you staying?
We're staying in about 15 miles from here.
Oh, right. Can you tell us what you're staying in? Can you give us a spoiler?
It's mobile.
Oh.
it's compactable.
Doesn't begin with a B?
It might begin with a B,
oh,
yeah.
God. Anyway, we'll think of you when we're in our hotel with the heating track.
However,
right
we have also got a Fiat Marea weekend to shuttle us to and from our accommodation. I might be sleeping in that, I don't know.
Oh my God.
But
well, no. It's lovely to come and see you. Now, as you all know, as I said at the start of the video, because I'm working on the Lancaster stand all weekend, I'm not going to have a chance to do a full show report. But thankfully, Matt and Ian, so Matt, Furious Driving, and Ian from Hubnut will both be doing full show reports. So if you want to know and see much more of the show than I can show you today, make sure you tune into both their channels and see what they've got to go. Now, we've got to get around the rest of the show, Matt. We've only got an hour for lunch. I know, we're not going to get around it all.
No, you're not.
Anyway,
you need all 3 days to be here, really.
You do, you can't do it all in one day. Right, well, have a good weekend.
Run. See you later, bye.
Hi there and welcome to the Classic American stand here at the NEC Classic Motor Show. This is in Hall 5, and here at the start we have, and I am slightly biased here, a 1972 Buick Riviera in beautiful original burnished bronze with a sandalwood interior. Something a bit interesting about this car, it was actually designed by Bill Mitchell, who was the same guy who designed the Corvette, and you can actually see that at the back with its iconic boat tail back. Anyway, we've got a lot to show you, so let's get on. Oh, look at this. An iconic 1966 Mustang Fastback. There's not enough time to tell you about the history of this car. The Mustang is so iconic. All I'll say is, what a fantastic colour. Absolutely beautiful. I think this is here from Kingston Shipping. Absolutely fantastic looking car. Now here we've got a very unusual pre-war car. This is actually a 1936 Cord, and Cord is quite an unusual manufacturer. You don't really see them much in the UK, but they made some beautiful, luxurious cars. And look at that lovely lifted windscreen at the front there, those little vents. I think that's just absolutely fantastic. And again, what great colour. We've jumped forward a few decades now. 1967 Dodge Coronet. And this is just such a lovely Mopar car. I mean, not too much with the chrome. It really toned down by the later 60s. But 67, I mean, what a year for cars. And you'll notice that this car has the vinyl top as well. They kind of did that as a bit of a thing where it's sort of looking a little bit like a convertible, but it wasn't quite. Again, what a fantastic looking car. Such a good year. Oh, now we're bringing out the big guns with this. This is Steve Sullivan's 1958 Cadillac. I can't even begin to describe what Steve has done on this car. He's even fabricated his own bolts to make sure that the manufacturer's stamp on the top is correct. This is as good as it gets, probably better than when it rolled off of the showroom floor. Exceptional car. Now moving over to a very unusual car. So it's a Buick like mine, but this is actually the only one of this model in the UK. This is a 1970 GS Stage 1. Very, very unusual option that was put on to give it a little bit more power and a little bit more performance. Only one in the UK, so unusual, absolutely iconic. What a gorgeous car, and this has been restored over 11 years in Canada. Absolutely beautiful. Now, we've got to be super nice about this car, a lovely Oldsmobile 442, which is very rare, but this is owned by the editor of Classic American magazine, Ben. And this has just undergone a restoration, which you can actually see featured in their magazines in some of the back issues. Again, Oldsmobile is an unusual brand. You don't see many of them in the UK, but they made some fantastic cars. They're so underrated and so undervalued, but they just made some absolutely brilliant examples. Lovely luxurious cars, such a great cruiser. What a beautiful car. Ben's owned it for years and he absolutely loves it. And finally, we've got a 1973 Mercury Cougar. Now, 1973 is an interesting year because that's when they started to have federally mandated larger bumpers and some emission controls and things like that. But I think you'll agree, doesn't this car wear that extra big bumper beautifully? Blending it in with the bodywork and the body colour, I just think disguises that extra bumper space so lovely. And this is such a lovely, luxurious car. Mercury was actually the luxury arm of Ford, and this is just a really, really lovely looking example here. What a fantastic set of cars on this stand. By all means, come down to Hall 5, Classic American stand, and check out all of these cars. And on Sunday, we're going to be crowning the winner for the Car of the Year.
Right, we're having to be really quick, so we've got to see lots, but I've only got 40 minutes off our stand. So look, this is going to look really staged, but I promise you, the first time we filmed this, where Sarah came on shot, it was really good, but because she wasn't wearing a mic, it wasn't going to work. So we're going to do another trip. Oh wow, there's the lady I won. What a surprise! Oh wow, hi! Seeing you here, babe. You're all right.
You're looking beautiful.
Thanks. Well, you know, I've lost nearly 10 stone.
Crikey.
Now, enough about me and you, because I want you to tell me about this photo booth.
So the photo booth is here because Evoke Classics have it at auction on our website. Yeah, so we thought we'd fetch it along because it's such a unique thing to be selling, and I'm sure that anyone that was thinking of buying it would probably want to see it. Plus, we thought we'd do some photos with people, so you can come along, get your photograph taken. It's a £5, but we're going to donate that money to charity. So it's going to be split between the Burn Cancer Trust and Sepsis Trust UK.
Brilliant. I think they're two great worthy causes, and especially something that's close to your heart with Sepsis UK.
Absolutely, yeah. So I think we've got some hats and stupid things to put on, just in case you need one, obviously. Yeah. False moustache and give us a smile. And yeah, so it should be good fun. We're really looking forward to the weekend. It's going to be a right laugh.
But you're a lady in 2 locations this weekend, aren't you? Where else are you?
Yeah, I'm going to cut myself. I don't know which way to cut myself, that way or that way. So yeah, and it's quite good because we're in halls next to each other. Yeah. So we're in hall 2 with Evoque Classics, and I'm in hall 1 with the mighty Ital on the Lancaster stand. Yes.
Right, let's go.
Let's go.
Hi, I'm James. I'm here with the Club Alpha UK stand here in Hall 2. So I'm one of the directors for the club. I just wanted to take you through our stand and show you a bit about the cars we've got. So first up, we've got the Alfa Romeo GTV here. So this has got a 3-litre V6 engine with a Busso design. It's been tastefully modified with a front splitter auto delta kit on it. These polished Alfa Romeo GT wheels, very tastefully done and well loved car. Next up, we've got the Alfa Romeo 146. This is a TI version with a 2-litre twin-spark engine in it. It's not pristine, it's well loved by its owner. It's undergoing quite a lot of work. We want to feature cars in our stand that are loved by their owners and used. Moving on. The next one we've got here is a 156 with a 2.5 V6 in, so it's quite a rare car. This is one of the original press cars from Alfa Romeo. It's got about 30,000 miles on it, everything pretty much original on it, very standard with a wooden steering wheel and wooden gear knob in there as well. And moving on, sort of theme we're going for modern classics, so with the GT here as well, with a 3.2 V6 engine in it. So it's the third Busso engine car on our stand. Yeah, not much more of that one. And then last up, this is probably the oldest car we've got on our stand. This is an Alfa Romeo Tipo 2600 Sprint. So this has got a straight 6 engine in it. Very rare cars, one of a few actual right-hand drive cars made, and it's absolutely stunning. Once again, undergoing a bit of work. You know, if you look under the bonnet, that's really where it shines. So if you're not here to see us this weekend, we're online, so you can have a look online what we're all about. But we're in Hall 2, so come and see us.
Hello, I'm Jeremy Rogers from the Daimler and Lanchester Owners Club, and I'm the events coordinator. And as such, I have to organise the NEC Classic Motor Show stand that we've organised here. And the theme of the event this year was part of the family. So I think probably as the oldest car manufacturer in the UK, it was up to me to think, well, how are we going to do this? And if you look across the stand, and I'll walk you around it, you'll see that, in fact, we've got a car. Well, we've only got room for 4 or 5 cars, but you'll see we've got a car for almost every part of the key elements from the 1890s right the way through to when production stopped in about 68. That's right. And then, of course, Jaguar took over. They took over in 1960 with the Daimler Mark. So anyway, the first one. This car is a 1907 Daimler Tourer. And as you can see, it's the sort of thing you might see on the London-Brighton route. This one is significant because it took part in the first hill speed trial, climb trial. And a director of the Daimler company, who'd been there already 15, 20 years, took this car in 1907 up the Shelsley Warsh incline. And of course it's done the journey a couple of times since then, but as you imagine, it's so old, it had to be rebuilt a couple of times. It's now in the ownership of the Jaguar Daimler Heritage Trust, who've kindly loaned it to us. Okay, moving on to the next one. This is a 1955 Daimler Conquest. And this one is a drop-head coupe, as you can see. It has a 100 horsepower engine, And it was called the Daimler Conquest because the saloon version, the price of it was, I think, £1,066. So there you go, the Daimler Conquest. Moving on. And this car is the 1968 Daimler V8 250 with a special V8 engine designed by Edward Turner. And Edward Turner, of course, was the famous motorcycle manufacturer who helped out Daimler during the end of the 1950s to design a superb engine, which is used in this car, which is the Mark II Jaguar bodied version of the Daimler. Remember, I mentioned earlier that Jaguar bought Daimler, and also the SP250 Dart sports cars. And you can see a collection of those across the aisle. So they're using the same engine, and it's notable that this particular engine made the Mark II Jaguar body very sprightly. Apart from anything else, it was 60 kilos lighter than the Jaguar engine. So although less powerful, it was quite a world beater. So moving on, this is really our showpiece. This is a 1944 wartime Daimler Scout car. In those days, and before that of course, Daimler and Manchester were owned by BSA, which is Birmingham Small Arms. Well, BSA entered a competition with other companies like Alvis to come up with a scout car for the forces. And this was the result. This won the prize. Daimler made it under their roof, and it was a stalwart of the reconnaissance vehicles. That's the vehicle that goes right up to the enemy, right up until, I would say, the 1960s. So it was a winning design. And it has a DB18 engine, which is an engine used in many of the saloons of the 50s. It's interesting to note it's got 5 forward and 5 reverse gears, because if you're in a conflict, you want to be able to skedaddle as quickly as you arrived. That's quite a lot about the Scout car, but if you folks wanted to come and see it, you'll find we've got a decommissioned Bren gun on the front, which is realistic as to how it would have been equipped. So, there we go. But last but by no means least, I nearly forgot, our Lines Brothers Daimler pedal car. Lines Brothers were the people who founded the Triang Group with their designs. I'm not sure of the history, but this particular model has been lovingly restored. And nobody's allowed to pedal in it, but we did break the rules at the last show when we were exhibiting it, and we let a couple of passing children have a go. So I think you can see we're thinking about this part of the family, so we've got something for everybody. Anyway.
Hello, I'm Jenny Dilks, and I'm one of the administrators of the National Microcar Rally, and this is our stand. We aim to put on the most unusual microcars we can find on the stand, ones that people don't see every day. Now, starting off with this one is a 1959 Vespa 400. That's all I know about it really, because it's not my car. The next car is a very unusual car. It was built just after the Second World War. Originally it was supposed to be an invalid carriage, but AC brought out their own version, and because this one had a steering wheel, it wasn't classed as an invalid carriage. So they've marketed it as a shopping car for a lady. And it is only 2'4" wide, so it can actually go in like a garden gate, and it's just a single-seater shopping car, basically. I don't know how many of them there are. The man who bought this has got 2, and we know someone in Scotland who's got 1, and that's about it. You don't really know. And the next one I know more about, because this is our car. This is a Nobel 200, which is a British version of the Fordmobile. It was built as a kit car originally, and it didn't sell, so they put them together. This one's number 77. So it's a fiberglass body, wooden floor built on a chassis, It's got a 191cc 2-stroke engine, and you can go 4 gears forwards and 4 gears back, so you can reverse it backwards if you want, as fast as forwards. In fact, my husband has driven it backwards once when the points broke, 25 mile an hour in 3rd gear. The next one is, this is a PL50. Originally they were built in the Isle of Man, but this one is a replica one which built, I think around about 2011 they started building them again, and they use a different engine, but mainly it looks the same, but it's obviously a more affordable version of the real thing. And the next one, this is a Barclay 4-wheeler. I don't really know a lot about the Barclay. They mostly had the Excelsior engine in, the 328 Excelsior engine. I'm not sure which one this one's got in it. They say they do Barclays in 3-wheelers, but this is actually a 4-wheeler. The next one is a Bond Mark B, which is quite an early one. I think it was 1951 this was built. So they did Bonds right up until the 60s and gradually built them with bigger engines. I can't remember what engine size this one is. It's a very small engine, I know that. 197 engine that one's got in it. And the last car that isn't here is a Messerschmitt, which if you look round here you can see the picture of it. This is a Messerschmitt 3-wheeler, built in Germany, 191cc engine, same engine as the Nobel, built by FMR, I think it is, and that does the same, 4 forward gears, 4 reverse gears, so and that's about it. I say we run a rally every year, and that's what we're all about, is promoting our rally. We normally run it in September every year.
And finally, massive thank you for bearing with me as we come to the end of this video. But of course I had to tell you, how are you going to win a car? Well, we've got this Jag here, and then you've got this fantastic Austin 1300 here. You can tell which one I've picked because this has me written all over it. So first of all, how did this come about? Well, we teamed up with Classics World and we've essentially traded up 3 different cars. We've had a Fiat 126, we've had the Mazda MX-5, and we've got the Austin 1300. And then these guys have traded up, I forget what they've done a few more trade ups than us. And anyway, they have this Jag now. And if I'm honest, I pick Basil, the Austin 1300, every single time. I absolutely love her. I got her for Lancaster from Keith Adams. He's done so much work to her, so you may recognise the car if you know the number plate. He's put an MOT on it. She's had a full service. She's had all sorts done to her. She comes with a massive box of parts. So not that I'm trying to sway you, but if you're coming down to try and win a car, make Basil the car that you pick. I've driven her all the way from Peterborough and I absolutely love her. Anyway, I'm waffling on. I hope to see loads of you this weekend at the show. I really hope you've enjoyed the video. And if you're coming down, make sure you pace your day well. There are lots and lots of halls to see here. Even in a couple of hours, I could barely scratch the surface. What a brilliant weekend. What an exciting thing to be a part of. And I hope to see some of you here. But until next time, take care and drive safely.